Hello collective, here is your The Matrix reading, alright? Please bear in mind that past, present, and future energetical timelines could come forth of vibrancy for you. Use your discernment to take all of that which is yours and naturally leave the rest behind. The Matrix, red pill, blue pill, why red, why blue? Let's talk about that for a second. Why, and just bear in mind, this is all intuitive processing, all right? That's it. Take what is yours, leave the rest behind. So red, we think of passion, anger, frustration. We hear of root chakra, slow frequency, 396 hertz. We say take the red pill if you want to know the truth. And blue, why blue? We think of sadness, we think of tears and water, we think of life, we think of breath, we think of creation. And you take the blue pill and you've allowed yourself to succumb to numbness and accepting the world at which you believe is to be true. Which one is it? Red pill or blue? Both red and blue mixed together offer purple. Red and blue makes purple. Purple trumps the color of red, trumps the color of blue. In the world as we esoterically understand that purple is a color of overall purification, of having understood or understanding your emotional, physical, and or ethereal body, whether individually or in tandem at any given time. You're practicing the color purple. The color purple, was a movie. And in conspiracy topics that we would cover in the Matrix, because that's not something that would go out of the realm of being accepted, the term conspiracy theories, when we think of the Matrix reading or a Matrix reading, to understand that someone, an actress within that movie, is part of the conspiracy theory. I'm not going to mention the name because it's not relevant to this reading, but to understand that there are so many ways that we can understand the different syncopations that life have to offer. They could come at the most random moments, be hiccups, a Freudian slip, as some may say, and it could then be also addressed. Well, whoa, is that a bad thing? Now that we saw the weed, the crack, the infiltration, or do we become astute in trying to figure out what this cancerous thing here is trying to tell us? Right? So why individualize the red or the blue when we can both learn from why the red exists and why the blue exists? And overall, we think about gangs have the color red and blue. We think about politics have Democrats, Republican, red and blue. What is so fucking compelling when it comes to having the options of, hey, follow the red one or follow the blue one? Neo, wake up, right? Everything is a chance for you to play chance with life and understand that while you're playing chances with life, there is no such thing as chance. There is just doing, action, causation, and effect. There is duality of light and darkness. There is duality of positive and negative. There is duality of opposing forces that when they harmonize with one another, they're literally compounding energies. And when they're not in harmony with each other, they are of complex compound energies. In it, we have chaos. Some of the chaos is unruly to the point where it can take life, and some of it is divine, if not all, because it allows the disshuffling and the disheveling and the constant chaos that is always unfolding, unleashing itself in generations of time and evolution, naturally happening anyway. There is no getting away from this. Your time is limited, whether you agree on it or not, whether you agree to have an understanding of an as above, so below, heaven or hell, angels and demons, God or no God. What is the point to all the inquisition to have such a justly right to it, especially when you can't mark everything in due time just because you might be able to understand something that someone else doesn't. Someone who's very spiritual, very emotionally intellectual, has an understanding of working with metaphysical energy, doesn't make them astute. It doesn't make them emperor or empress. It doesn't make them king or queen. It doesn't make them a master healer. It makes them selves aware that they have an awareness that trumps other people's awarenesses or self-acknowledgement or self-awareness of self-care regimen or of self-synchronization or their own syncopation of life. One who's more tapped in doesn't mean they're the smartest or can't gain from someone that is not tapped in. The Matrix is a system, it's a grid. Once you tap into expression of psychedelic trips, you might actually see the actual construct of the grid of the system. If your consciousness is on a quest of wanting to see it, if it is desired into figuring out what is the ultimate netting of the grid of the binary coding that your light of consciousness is attached to, is it the one that's indoctrinated in the system and sucking your life force but not perpetuating any energy forward and back to you in any sense of return rate? Or is your connection to divinity on a path of taking your energy, not draining you, but being able to transcribe your confusion and transgressions to make you, quote unquote, a better person, because that quote unquote better person is not about you limiting yourself as how good or unwell you are, but just to understand how well you are. And in that degree of those 4-letter word of how well you are, you can then figure out how unwell you are. And the 4 becomes a 6, and that is to understand that there is a harmonization you have to give yourself. So the 4 seeks to 5. 5 is the changer, the doer. What changes the well, the part. It is the definition then to understand, to harmonize your own imbalance, is to normalize the balance, the imbalance that you feel is imbalanced, and bring a sense of resolution for yourself that offers solution to the complexities at hand. You can do so in any state of rhythm, with any state of consciousness, and with any state of emotional intelligence, where the intellectual factoring isn't about you understanding that 2 + 2 is 4, because in some people's ways and imagination, 2 + 2 is 22. And you can bicker until the end of eternity if you want to, or you can accept things for what they are, as someone else sees them for what they are. And whatever you see, like or dislike, in that of which you see individually and together, you can either cause causation to go in the flow of purified effect, or you can cause the flow to be chaotic one. The Matrix is here to tell you and force you to believe that you don't have the capability to draw reasonable conclusions and solutions for yourself, that you depend on not only practitioners, doctors, nurses, lawyers, judges, cops, park rangers, NYPD traffic patrols. Look at that, NYPD is very specific. They're hilarious. Which is overall having all these labels, even librarian, all right, even its school teacher, like everyone has a label that they set for themselves in their resume. I would like to be hired to fulfill this role. You'd be surprised how many people don't even like the role that they've subscribed themselves to be on, because they feel not in sync with it. They're not really on their destined path. Again, the Matrix putting you in the equation of how you can serve the Matrix rather than how you can serve yourself. I'm hearing the words conserve your energy. We have the Magician here. All right, the Magician, sorry for the glare. Can't really do anything about that at the moment. But the Magician is here to reinstate your sense of clarity, that the Matrix is a terminology, and that terminology has justifications of finding facts, and those facts cover sea to shining sea, and as above, so below. It truly does, because the Matrix has infiltrated galactic light shared by the galaxy, and that galactic light was chaotic by a human's hands and doing, because the Matrix isn't one that takes in and the output is just as beautiful, if not more abundant than the input is. It's very unfair and unjust, so it causes a natural disintegration of galactic problems. So hence why the Matrix now is at a case of needing to be having to be forced, that there is life, extraterrestrial life, beyond human life, there is alien life, and now this Matrix is making it a bigger siren to be understood. And the more you accept it from a newspaper, an app, or the television screen, the more you're going to accept down the line the possibility of something that you may not want to be true, because it obliterates your imagination, or the imagination that you do have or did have as a child, or even now, is now coming to full effect and has a realism to it. The Matrix has you convinced that you are the only one that can practice your sense of freedom. And it's not true in the sense of collective consciousness that is tied to all of universal beings. You come from a seed. We all come essentially from this seed. It depends on how many cultures are in your way, how many bloodlines of linealogy. I'm hearing chronology. What? I'm hearing the hilarious. The word's not coming up. But I'm hearing on all the levels of time here, you know, we all come from this one seed, you know, and whether or not you want to believe that aspect of you come from that one thing, it's really not to anyone's care or business. It's not, we're so far away from that point now that it doesn't make sense to try to convince anyone with any statistics to make a truth. The only way that we can make it a truth is if we challenge this individual of a Knight of Pentacles to become in tune with their magical light power and have a conversation with their higher self, understanding what it means to have a higher self and surrender to this possibility, because it is there to be able to tap into, and then some. Understanding your own division of light will understand how you surpass the Matrix consciously. However, it doesn't mean that you are not so plugged into the Matrix because of the ideologies and the overall stigma that I think majority of you are still holding on to as how life should be, because I think you're still thinking freedom is free, and freedom isn't free. All right, it's not free, so you're walking away from it and understanding sovereignty, because sovereignty allows you to really pick up the pieces that fell, examine them as to why they fell in the first place, and being able to then understand what may be needed in order to fix it. And because some things that are broken can be fixed, and some things that are broken are not meant to be fixed. Either way, that acceptance pushes you And that Six of Swords energy, moving away from chaotic situations and closer to more calming situations. And in doing so, you're naturally tending to addressing your natural curiosity and your inner nautical compass. The Matrix will have you convinced that you're working for others and not for yourself. It would also have an influence in having everyone around you influence you in needing to show up and be better rather than accepting you for who you are and learning to grow with you along your purpose. Okay, any of those situations that don't sound profitable on the journey galloping in is how you have resurrected yourself into spiritual evolution and going in dark and coming out light. Fascinating. Beautiful transition here of transcribing that of which you knew, by not understanding everything that which it is you know, but feeling and answering to a nautical compass of some kind, and then feeling the resurrection of having done so. In it, that resurrection is a ripping of a emotional, physical, or spiritual, soul-like decapitation, because you're like, I didn't not only see this coming, but I have absolutely no control of it having happened or going to happen. And the fact that you know life to it begin and to end is an inevitability we can't run away from. And in light, we understand that there is an inevitability that we can attach ourselves to. And that attachment allows ourselves to be the expression of any moment, time, and space, especially if we understand your Akashic records and you've traveled your past life. Like, the Matrix will challenge you in accepting that there is something outside of what it is that you're showing up and to perform for the Matrix every single day, whether it's going to 9 to 5, making sure you have a babysitter, taking your kids to daycare, taking your kids to after school, picking them up after school activities, making sure they have their hobbies, making sure they have their schedule down packed. But you're also in a way bombarding them from their time and space spent with themselves and their own imagination. And I'm sure that this time, with everything, all the tools made available to us that we've given to each other or we thought we needed to help and assist ourselves, you realize can be too much. So someone is looking to be a bit more minimalistic here. That ideology, or that thinking minimalistically, will naturally allow some things to cleanse away and detox as you focus on the things that make you feel lighter, more vivacious, more glowy, more in the flow, and just overall ready and willing to just show up, right? To just show up. Yeah, to just show up. The King of Cups, he or she just shows up. He's right there. He or she is right there to handle any kind of emotional pain someone wants to tell him about, or he sees amongst the people that he is a king to. And he realizes that his motive is to have laws and jurisdictions that would appease the wellness of people's emotions, because he or she sees that having or catering to someone's emotions allows a fostering of a relationship for these individuals to show up for themselves a bit more and surrendering to their own inner vulnerability that's not overclouded by external loudness and shutting them down, but more so bringing forth more security and more willingness to speak on those emotions that you want to speak on, or that you feel or may feel compelled to speak upon. 5 of Pentacles is feeling that because of your relationship to being a king, you understand that not everyone's emotions can be catered to. That is what ultimately makes you a king. Understanding overall consensus to both duality of light and darkness. Understands the game of good and bad karma. And the king puts down his or her policies of laws for the kingdom. Knowing that not everyone will essentially be satisfied, although the king wants to make sure that everyone is. The Matrix here has shown you that you need emotional codependency in order to have a fruitful life. And then you go seeking individuals and you realize they have no emotional intelligence to deal with you, to handle your sense of inquisition, your dream state, your imagination, or your voice or speech, maybe even your thinking skills. The Matrix is compelling you to believe that you need more of emotional hand-holding to be more validated. And you don't see that what the system is actually doing is gaslighting you, perpetuating the idea that you always need to be in service of someone, because to be in service of someone means you're constantly losing out on money. The Matrix will teach you that traveling isn't safe. It will teach you that world politics, within world politics, let's put it that way, that the negativity needs to be warned about more so than the positivity. But then what it's doing is perpetuating more of your fear. And you call it faith. You call it the system protecting you. The Knight of Swords, reason comes in. All right, that reason is a sound. It's what's his name? Oh my God. It's Morpheus. All right, the sound of reason. And Morpheus comes in and challenges Neo to wake up. And that wake up aspect is a whisper of your own awareness in your sleeping state and being plugged into the Matrix consciously. That whether you're astral traveling or lucid dreaming, you're being now reminded in your waking moments that the Matrix, one, exists and that you still need to unplug yourself out of it. Some of you are convinced that you are no longer part of the system, and it's not true. Look at that 9 of Wands. It's not true. You're still connected. You're still connected in one way or another because you're looking over your shoulder, and that fear, that looking over your shoulder is the wrong way to look at that, because you should go forward, and that forward is life forward. Life forward doesn't mean you always have to go in a direction. You just go life forward, and that life forward movement will bring you in a direction of north, south, east, or west. And understanding that is a sovereignty state of mind instead of an emotional convincing that you are not only on the path of needing freedom, but that you also are possibly free, yet you're paying an astronomical price for your freedom. It doesn't make you free. The Matrix will convince you you have issues of ailments, of chronic diseases, of incurable. Do you understand? Incurable diseases. It's, I don't know. Divine is speechless to that. Mother Nature has given all the antidotes that you need to survive. All of them. All of them. Some require a bit of work to get to, but it doesn't mean that you can't get to them. Easier said for most because of the fucking system. Hence why this is the Matrix. But the beautiful part of using the Matrix in a sentence is to also understand that sentence can be completed in knowing that the Matrix is, it's destroying itself. There's a destruction happening within the Matrix currently, and has happened for now a few years. If you're in the United States, the Constitution is the proof that world dominion cannot take place. In 1776. Some of you know your amendments, but you don't know your rights. Some of you know your Bill of Rights, but don't know true justice. Someone gave up their lawyer career and is choosing to step out of it. There's so much fruition for someone here. There is a absolute stunning, and I mean stunning, and if it's very stunning for you too, you might be getting chills at this time, of a resurrection taking shape. And that resurrection is literally shape-shifting you into who you were always meant to be, because you're stepping into earth vibration, and the earth vibration doesn't give a shit about conspiracy theories, because it will honor them. It honors both light and darkness, and that resurrection is a beautiful sense of acceptance that you can be someone who has their hands filled with many different things, or many different topics, or you are a business person, or you are someone of a leadership skill. But definitely what you are is you're a trendsetter for seventh dimensional consciousness in pure form. And that pure form is in need of accepting both, again, light and darkness, and not just fucking love and light, alright? feel like the ego is going to come, the ego is going to come test you a little bit here. It's not the devil card, which is typically my ego card, but it is the moon, all right? The moon, the moon challenges you to understand how all of evolution has ever taken place. Because we have yet to understand literally all aspects of the moon. We can only see one side of the moon, right? So if we can only see one side of the moon, that means one side is forever a secret. Forever a secret, and mathematically and quantum and due to quantum physics, designed that way. So that means something will always remain a secret. That's the power of the moon. And the power of the moon having such a secret is that it doesn't take away for how much light it uses to reflect your path, that you may need the moon to illuminate for you, because you might not just be that good at seeing in the dark. Having that sense of the moon energy here pays witness that you don't know everything about life. You don't always have the matrix understood. There are too many things in this world to try to understand, that you're not meant to understand everything. You have the moon being the one to illuminate you here as you embody the world energy and that nakedness, vulnerability of being yourself. So it's saying, pay attention to your shadow aspects, pay attention to the secrets, your dark things, the things that are not easily shared with people all the damn time. Pay attention to that, because it will help guide you and shape you, the internal person you're trying to be. So that way, when you look with your two eyes at the world of the external manifestation, what the world wants you to be, that you don't allow it to feed either the negative or the bad wolf, that you don't allow it to do that, but that you only allow it to kind of be the dial tone that you need for yourself to turn in order to figure out how you will show up in tandem with it, and not how you will shape yourself to conform to it. And you'll conform it, but more so in embodying and transcribing, transmuting, and becoming. The Matrix has conspiracy topics that are designed to mend and shape your thoughts. Alright. The Matrix is designed to convince you whether or not you believe in human life or you believe in something bigger than humanity. Alright, having a sense of relationship with that in any way is to understand the power of the Star card. Feeling that sense of inspiration to do things on your own, to be independent from the matrix, to be sovereign instead of free, to take control of your life and being in your way, of being in your own way by just minding the business of your own lane. And when you mind your own business of your own lane, anyone that needs help on their own lane, you will pay attention to, and you will bring yourself to a pit stop if needed to pay attention to another person, and only them, and not any other time. That's how you keep the basis of unconditional love going, by understanding that there are conditions to love, and those conditions need to be met first and foremost of yourself, for you to understand the levels of boundaries that you may need to discipline in yourself or require of others, so that way they can feel your version of unconditional love and vice versa. Ace of Wands. All right, beautiful alignment of sense of self. I see the ellipsis here, so really being able to say something and not have to rush, okay? Not feeling rushed, not allowing yourself to be rushed. Some of you might be practicing Reiki. I would love for you to consider, 𝗖𝘀𝗵𝗺̱, which is my galactic light Reiki that I have to offer. Two of Cups, because essentially what you want to achieve for yourself is a better relationship with your sense of self. You are still someone who externally requires dependency instead of learning that you can marry yourself and feel so vivacious and beautiful and harmony in doing so. And you can be in true unconditional love with yourself and fight any of those demons and come out on top like no tomorrow. It's amazing how much life you can allow yourself to live and not worrying so much and needing to live it. There's still a dependency of figuring out whether or not you are a true soulmate. There's a lot of mistrust here with someone in your current atmosphere. And I think for someone here, this might be a little tough to hear, but for someone here, the Matrix has convinced you that you are in love with your person, if there is a person, and you might metaphysically start to realize otherwise, that this person was just a soulmate, and this person being a soulmate means they literally were meant to come into your life to teach you something about yourself, to see whether or not you can be your own boss, your own god, your own goddess, and call out your own bullshit and be able to step into a new comfort zone, which will require you being uncomfortable, getting out of what you thought once was your comfort zone. Alright, I'm being told to leave the messages where they are. I ask if you would like any of my services, whether it's a reading of any kind or a 𝗖𝘀𝗵𝗺 session, to feel free to check out that description box below. In maneuvering also what kind of content is beneficial for you is made available in the description box as well. Either way, I look forward to making your acquaintance, and I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. Take care.